Hi everyone, I'm here with Bettina. Hi Bettina.
Hi.
So Bettina, she has been a student in Stefano Bemer Academy, and now she is actually working with Stefano Bemer for Stefano Bemer brand. So Bettina, tell us a little bit about your experience first as a student and then as an actual craftsman, like an actual shoemaker.
Okay, so I started my shoemaking experience in 2014 in the first class of Stefano Bemer. We learned a lot of small details on how a shoe works. So if you want, I can show you how we started and then how we progressed and finished, and then I'll tell you how we developed, how I ended up in the store. So first we start with this thing. So we do several of this. It's pretty much just the toe of the shoe. So this is actually a more advanced one. We start with lasting, then we learn how to make the insole, we learn how to last, and then later on we stick on a sole, and then we learn how to cut the channel of the sole and then how to stitch it. From this one, we move to something like this, which is a shoe, but it's almost like a pump. So this is where we learn how to make a basic pattern. We sew our uppers on our own, and then we learn how to make the waist. This is a different process, and how to stack a heel. After several repetitions of that, we move to an actual shoe. So we learn how to make the patterns. So on the patterns, first we learn how to make it on a wooden last. So we use something like this. So it's the old lasts of Stefano Bemer that we use, that we learn how to develop a pattern. So from this, we first learn how to make a derby. So these are just some examples of patterns that we use. So we learn how to make this. This is the base, and then the different parts. So this would be the lining, and then let's see. So this is still the lining. This is all the lining. And
These are all the paper patterns,
yes,
right?
These are
Then we also we'll show the models as well,
yes,
derby and so on.
So this is the same pattern that we used for this, something
Oh.
similar. So from this we end up with the toe puff, which is this part here, and then the next would be this one. So this is this part, and we have this is the middle part. This one goes here in the back, and we also have the tongue, which is attached here. So that's over there. So that's just a mix. We learn how to make Oxfords, derbies, loafers, and then so this is what we do in the first part. So the
Apprentice.
in the apprentice level, and then on the
Artigiano.
the artigiano, we didn't have that when we started. So in the artigiano level, it actually becomes a little bit more of an independent work. So this is where you learn how to measure your feet, or your classmates' feet, and then you get your own last, you make a pattern to the design you want, and then you make your own bespoke shoes, so the way you want it, using the techniques that you learned in the artisan, in the apprentice level. So everything you learn in the apprentice level, you bring to the second part, and it's a lot of repetition, trial and error for a new student, because you learn how to use your hands and your whole body together. And then later on, I did those two, and I went on to the master level, wherein I went to the workshop and worked with other masters, and from there I learned more things, smaller things, little small details, how to make the shoe look the same even if the feet are completely different, as symmetrical as possible. And after that, I was hired by the company, and even then I had to do a lot of repetition, a lot of insoles, a lot of sewing, and only a few years later was I actually graduated into making full pairs of shoes for the clients. But because of all the repetition and I like precise work, I was able to make shoes for clients, and here I am now, and I am still making shoes for clients, helping out clients, measuring, meeting people from all over the world through the school and all of our clients, and it's a very, very fun experience. Stefano is a shoemaker that started out in Greve in Chianti. He wasn't making shoes, he was repairing, and then he actually tore up a pair of shoes that he was repairing and saw how it is made. From there, also learned how to make the shoes. Came to Florence and worked under different masters. And because he was very talented, very charismatic, he was able to make a name for himself. Unfortunately, he passed away in 2012. Then the brand was taken up by Tommaso Melani and the Scuola del Cuoio family, and they were able to make it grow even more. So they started the school, made the ready-to-wear line more available to clients. So we do ready-to-wear, made-to-order, and bespoke shoes using the same materials. It's accessible worldwide now. You can order online. So the company has developed from a small, very mom and pop shop of very, very handmade shoes that we brought to a bigger company still under the Stefano Bemer name. We're still doing exactly the same things that Stefano did, same techniques, same materials that we're using as much as possible. We're trying to keep his legacy alive by the work that we do and the work that we teach others.
And tell us a little bit about what is a bespoke shoe, a pair of shoe, like how it is different than anything else.
Okay, so bespoke shoes are pretty much made for you, not just the style, not just the color, but actually to your feet. So we get a tape measure, we measure your feet, we feel your feet with our own hands to see which is bone, which is meat, which is fat, so things that can move around in your feet that we can squish into the shoe, but the bones are important because that's what, if it's not in the right spot with the right spacing, then it would hurt. We develop your own last, you'll have your name here, and it's made to your feet. Before we make the actual shoes, we make fitting shoes. So 1 or 2 fittings. If the client has much more difficult feet, we'd probably see them 2 or 3 times. And from there, so imagine your feet are not exactly the same. And so we try to make feet that look different, as similar as possible when they wear the shoes. So the fun part also would be you get to pick your pattern, you get to pick the leather that you want. And it's a completely handmade process. We'll cut the sole, and the insole comes from a huge piece of leather. We cut the sole by hand, we make a wall, we stitch everything by hand, lasted by hand, finishing by hand, sandpaper. So it's about a week and a half worth of work that we put into an actual shoe, not with a fitting, not with a dead time, but to make an actual pair of shoes, we need at least a week and a half to make. So imagine the difference between this and a pair of shoes that you'll just buy in an ordinary store, which takes an hour to make by a machine. So definitely slow fashion, very slow fashion, but it's meant to last long. So you can change the sole because of the way that we stitch the sole together. If you polish it well, because of the materials that we use very high quality materials. If you take care of the shoes, they should last a lifetime.
I'm here with Michael, another student, which is now working on his bespoke pair of shoes. So tell us a little bit about this model. How did you think about it, and the leather that you are using, which is very interesting. So textured.
Right, yeah, this is bison leather. I wanted to do something different, but I didn't want to do something too complicated because we're studying, we're learning, so I wanted to not go too far over my own head. But I did some chain stitching here, just as a nice detail. And what I've done is double beveled waist and a fiddleback. You can see some angles here. So I cut this in really, really close and rounded the sides. And now I'm working on smoothing out all the surfaces to take the dye so it polishes up nice and shiny.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
So are you enjoying this part of the course, like the Artigiano level?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You just, you get into the zone and you work, and suddenly it's 5:30. So it's a good feeling. The time flying by like that.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
This year of 2021, we will be starting classes on August 24. So the apprentice level starts on August 24 and lasts for 10 weeks. And the artisan level, you start from apprentice, artisan plus 3 weeks of open lab is a total of 20 weeks. For more information, you can go to www.scola.academy. And if you want to book a one-on-one call with our staff, you can write us an email.
So Bettina, tell us a little bit about your experience here in Florence. How is living in Florence and working in Florence with shoes?
Okay, I think Florence is a very ideal place to work for me personally. So it's a city, but it's not a huge city. So I can get around on foot or on bike everywhere I want to go within the city. I have everything I need that's available for me. Work is close, so maximum 1 hour before work, I wake up, have breakfast, get ready, and walk to work for 30 minutes or bike for 10 minutes. So it's the convenience of the city. Aside from that, it's a beautiful city to live in. It's the birth of the Renaissance. Wherever you go, you still see it. The buildings, I'm in awe every time I see the Duomo and when I walk along the river. It's the home of artisans, so wherever you walk you'll see workshops, a few shoemakers, you'll see people cutting stone, people making bags, people painting randomly in different bridges. It's just a mix of different things. It's also such an international community, so you meet people from everywhere, the friends that you make, and because it's so small, you're able to see a lot of people that you know on the street. Hi, okay, so I'm back, and this is Masako. Masako is the instructor for Stefano Bemer Shoemaking School.
Hello.
So the students are now in the artisan level, so they're working pretty much independently on their own designs. So Masako, can you show us and explain to us what they're doing?
So now she is doing stitching of the sole, outsole. So every thread is handmade, and the same stitch hole by hole.
So you see, it's hard work. It's a full body workout.
These are all models made by students, right?
Yes. In different phases of the course, they all try different things, and we actually have a pair of fitting shoes right now in front of you. So they made this with their own design, and after making it, they try it on. So there are cuts here to see how much space is left.
Okay, what is he doing?
So he is actually double checking and working on his pattern. So his pattern is actually a whole, it's almost like a spiral of the shoe, and he's coloring the edges, he's putting the holes. He'll start gluing it soon, and he's preparing to sew it. So he's sewing the upper, and when that's done, he'll finally be able to last it on the shoe.
Yeah, maybe he was trying 4 days, 5 days.
It's
Because it's not easy, this model.
It's a long,
he's trying.
it's a long.
a lot of trial and error.
And what is Michael doing? Hi, Michael.
Ciao.
So this is the finishing.
So the shoe is almost done, right?
Yes. So we're trying to get it to a very smooth edge so that when it's done, they can color it and then put a liquid wax over. That's what makes the, first of all, makes the shoe a little bit more waterproof, and then also it finishes the whole look of the shoe. So when you see a shoe, you see the edges that are black or brown or neutral. Before getting to actual color, you have to make it smooth, and here we do it by hand because we make handmade shoes.
Excellent. Okay, so Bettina, tell me, what do you really like about your job?
First of all, it's working with my hands. I really like working with my hands. I used to do a computer job before coming here, and it's just an itch to be working, to be moving the whole time that I like. And the precision of everything. To make a shoe, you have maximum 1 millimeter allowance. If not, the shoe fits differently or it looks already different. So that's what I enjoy doing. There's certain parts that I love doing that is actually very relaxing. It's almost like therapeutic, like when I'm stitching the sole and the rhythm and everything. And then sometimes we have music, so you sew to the rhythm, so it's really fun. And also about my job, I meet so many people. I make many different kinds of feet. You learn so much about them, and you learn about different cultures from the different clients as well.
Perfect.